Onyx has knocked it out of the park, killed it, and buried it for good measure, yet again. This is an absolute grand slam of a product. All the power and usability of a Tab Ultra C in a more compact body, continuing the legacy of the Nova Air C. This is the Onyx Boox Tab Mini C. Google Play on board, fast as all hell, and a 5000 milliamp battery. Audio, speed modes, and a 300 ppi Kaleido 3 screen. Honestly, nothing more needs to be said. So let's dive in. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, they give you a Pen Plus. This one is a little bit of an underachieving pen because it does have a regular tip and it's lengthed pretty well, but it doesn't have an eraser at the back, and the materials are, compared to the Pen 2 Pro, a little bit questionable. We personally recommend and like this one. It's a little bit longer, as you can see here. You get an eraser at the back, it's weighted a little better, and it feels a little bit better in the hand. Also, it doesn't matter which one you have, they both snap to the side because they have their universal snap points, so whatever pen you go with, it'll snap right to the side of the tab. First impressions on the overall build of it. This one is a flush screen and bezel. It is color. It looks really good. It's not really too far away or too close to you. They've done a good kind of balancing act. You do get a little bit of a shadow cast around the bezel, but that's kind of unavoidable when it comes to flush screens. There is a lip around the side, and I've never felt that before. It's a 0.5 millimeter lip around the entire thing. It's quite prominent. You can pretty much feel and really get a handle on where that is. It's definitely a design choice because it doesn't feel like it was by mistake. You have everything at the bottom, your speakers, your USB, and a power button up top. The back also has this very nice repeating pattern like a luxury clothing manufacturer. Obviously, color content is going to take front and center of this review, but for the most part, let's look at the UI. You do have your drop down up top here, and if you click on E-Ink Center, they're actually going to do it a little bit differently. They call it HD Balanced Fast and Ultra Fast, not Normal, Speed, A2, and X. They actually change the names based on what kind of device you have. If you have the Page, it'll be X. If you have the Tab series, it'll be Ultra Fast. You can change your dark color enhancement, your vivid enhancement, and your color brightness. All of that is going to come in handy when you look at color content. You have your apps here. You can press the home button, the more button, and the back button, or you can use gesture support if you've already chosen your device to do that. If you swipe to the left, you get some cards, today's memo, notes, really nicely laid out. Note-taking, that's why we're all here, everybody. You get a bunch of templates, and you can make your notes on PDF. So if you have a blank PDF with some lines, that is a template. We'll create on a blank page to start things off. You get a bunch of things here, and you'll have to check our previous reviews if you want to watch the full experience because there's too much to cover in one video. Onyx is one of the only companies that allows you to customize pens, 5 in fact. You can do a gray fountain pen with a thick line. You can choose over here, you can make this one a highlighter with purple and super thick. You can go over to one of these and I can make this one a pencil, orange, with medium thickness, and all of them actually change as you go. It's quite nice, and they recognize tilt on this as well. You can see here Onyx is one of the few companies in the world that does tilt. The eraser works really nicely as well, although we're using the Pen 2 Pro, you don't get any eraser out of the box. On the left you have templates, layers. Layers is really nice to touch on because you can actually create 5 layers plus a template layer, giving you 6 layers total. How a layer works is if you are drawing on a layer like that, you go over to another layer, layer 3 for example, you grab your other pen, and if you were to delete what's on top of that layer, you don't affect any other layers. Very nice touch. Canvas is also nice. You can actually stretch your canvas beyond the screen's capabilities. For example, if I wanted to do a 2x1, I have now increased the width to the point where I actually have to slide and keep note of where I am on the mini-map as to where my bearings are, because you can see you've extended the canvas into more of a 10-inch device, even though this is a 7.8. Very nice touch as well. Shapes is insane. No other company does what Onyx does. They do a great deal of customization. For example, if I wanted a green pentagon with some staggered lines, I can do that in a second. There would be no way for me to draw that otherwise. It would take far too long for me to either erase gaps or make the gaps. It's just insane what level of detail they put into it. Little squiggle lines made out of yellow. It's just insanity. So if your device needs are for shapes, they do have you covered. They also have a lasso tool. So what you would do is choose the lasso tool, then circle something like this. From there, you can move it around, you can copy it, you can stamp it, you can move it to another page, you can change its aspect ratio. A lot of information with the lasso tool. Control is either disable touch or enable touch, but you don't really have to worry because even with 5 points on the screen, the thing works perfectly fine. So it's just kind of there as a precaution. You don't need to use it. You can input text on the screen. The keyboard pops up down below. Once you're into it, you can type out Peter is here. That was terrible because I missed a whole bunch of keys, but it is quite responsive. Now, I will note that, lesson learned, look how small the keys are. This is a 7.8, so don't expect a great deal of accuracy. That's really where the bigger devices come into play. If you click out of it, the text will take and it'll stay on the screen. Insert is really nice as well because you can actually insert various things, not just a picture, but actually pictures, images, recordings, attachments, link to note, files, and hyperlinks to websites as well. AI is how you're going to change the text, and it will either reflow it or do an automatic conversion. So for example, it will convert like that. Hello, I am Peter, the exact way I wrote it, or you can do reflow, or you can do original, and it'll put it up there, and you can keep typing away from there, and then export everything. The beauty about Onyx is that they don't lock you into anything. For example, if I wanted to utilize this, type some things out, and then click share, I can immediately export just that into a QR code, into a PNG, into a PDF, and export it, or share it with whatever apps are on my unit. If I had OneDrive, if I had Gmail, it'll all show up here and I'll be able to export it from there. Super customizable. They don't lock you into anything, and if you don't want to use that, you don't have to use that. You just go right out. If you click on more, you get more things. You get full refresh, you get page minus, you get save, share and export recordings, and customize the toolbar to whatever you want. That was a lot of talking. Let's take some actual notes now. Of course, a lot of what you're going to do is going to be circulating around Google Play. Why that is because it doesn't make sense to use the Onyx App Store or the Onyx Bookstore when you have Google Play. Although they have them as a pleasantry for all their amazing users, it doesn't make any sense. You have millions, hey look at that, cents. You have millions of applications on Google Play. You can download games, you can download apps, you can download efficiency premium things, you can download art, design, it doesn't really matter. And if your question is, can I download blank? The answer is yes. Remember, this isn't an e-reader at all. It has an e-paper screen, but it has nothing to do with the e-reader world. This is a tablet PC with Android 11, just so happens that instead of an LCD LED screen, they're using an e-paper screen. So you can download anything on here and it will work. Reading. Now, this is a double-edged sword. It doesn't look that great because a lot of the times you're playing a balancing act because you have to have the glow light on for it to look good. If you don't have the glow light on, it ends up looking really gray. For example, if we turn it off, look at that. I mean, that's the inherent problem with all color e-paper. This is not Onyx's problem. This is Pocketbook. This is Onyx. This is Readmoo. This is everybody. So that's why when everyone always asks us, why do you have the glow light on? It's because of this. It's because it just simply doesn't look good. That's not how color e-paper is supposed to work. It just can't handle it. You need to have the glow light on to take a little bit of the edge off. Once you do, you get into a good experience, but it's still kind of gray. Now, what's the advantage of having color with e-readers? Well, if you have this, that means you can do highlights on things that allow you to. You can do light blue, you can do, yellow, you can do red, you can do a whole bunch of different things now that you have the capability of differentiating between colors, and it's not just shades of gray now, so it ends up just looking really nice. Also, you might notice you're also playing a balancing act with how fast it is versus how good it looks, so you'll have to kind of find the even range, and that's what modes like balanced is for, or fast or ultra fast, etc., to give you those capabilities of either choosing speed or how good it looks. Here we go, everyone. Color comic books, color content. This is what we're going to look at because this is the reason you're going to buy this. E-reading is useful because kind of an e-reader in a way, but color content, this is what you're going to look at. Now, you can do some things and you can change the vivid enhancement. You'll see it all changes live. The color brightness, that's kind of the saturation, and the dark color enhancement, which is the richness. Now, you have to be very careful because this could kind of run away from you. If you ever get kind of lost, just hit reset, and that's the ideal settings, and that's the one we're going to go with. If you double click a cell, you will see that you get guided view or panel view. Now, the beauty about this is that they took it from Comixology, so if you swipe, it'll go panel by panel. Now, you might see there's some staining in the background. All you would do is you'd press the refresh button and then it cleans it up. Now, let's look at this and see how good it looks here. This is a very high quality screen. In fact, it doesn't look that hindered by anything in front of it. We will see that it completely diffuses the light because of the inherent matte nature of an e-paper screen. Doesn't reflect light in the slightest. It's actually handling it quite well. The overall PPI means that it's incredibly easy to read things that aren't in color as well, so there's no trade-off. You're not saying, okay, well, I have color now and the rest is just going to look awful. That's not what's happening here. It is very much a clear experience. Does this look as good as Spectra or Gallery? No, not at all. Of course not, but it is the only real-world usable technology. Gallery's not that realistic. Spectra is... They don't have a Spectra device that anybody can actually buy. So all we have now is Kaleido 3, and I must say, it does appear to be a little bit better than 10.3's. Reason being, it's a little bit more condensed. It takes it to the next level where you don't have a lot of that fuzziness and kind of desaturated feel you get on the larger screens. This definitely does absolutely have the richest color on anything real world usable. Finally, let's look at some color content. Now that you will see this is in color, it looks really good, but there's going to be something you want to take into consideration. The glow light is on. That wasn't a setup. We need to have it on. And much like the reading experience, if you turn it off, it ends up looking very gray and the vividness is lost. We can mitigate this a little bit with the e-ink center, but it is very critical that you have the glow light on to some degree. This is not a flaw. This is by design. Look how much better it looks with just a little bit of glow light. You balance out the whites a little bit more and the colors really pop. Trust me, leave the glow light on. It doesn't use that much more battery power and it looks phenomenal. If you're outside, perhaps you can get away with having it off, but for the most part it does look nice with it on. Now, you can do some things like vivid enhancement, dark color enhancement, and color brightness, and all of this is going to alter the actual image behind. You will see that after you do that, it does kind of dilute things. You lose a lot of details, or you can gain some details. It all comes down to the way you want to have your experience catered. You can make it kind of pale, you could make it a little heavier and really get those shadows. You can up the color brightness and the saturation and the contrast. Everything you want to do. You can make it really light on the eyes like this. You've made it very pale. You've removed a lot of those kind of darker tones. So you really can craft this to the way you want it. But honestly, this is a very high quality screen. You're not going to have any shortcomings when it comes to color on Kaleido 3. It is the absolute latest color technology. If you're shopping around, this is not like the InkPad Color 2. This is not like the Mobi Scribe. This is the latest color technology. There's too much that this has going for it, but the standout features is that out of the box it has Google Play, it is extremely fast in nearly any mode, and it has a 300 ppi Kaleido 3 color screen. But there's always a catch, and this has no SD card. It's $50 more than its predecessor, and you won't even get a Pen 2 Pro for the price difference. However, with all its pros and cons aside, when it comes down to real-world use, and aside from an SD card, this is pretty damn near perfect. For Good E-Reader, this is Peter.